boy, here we go again. In his third game of the season, Android pitcher X67 threw a pitch that broke the 120-mile-per-hour mark. The human batsman wasn't able to swing until after the ball had already reached the catcher's glove. Androids were introduced as a one-per-team innovation, but they've come to dominate team strategy. Every draft sees the major professional baseball teams breaking their own transfer records to purchase these latest Android models. But is the game suffering? Jenny Waterfield, head of Fanzine Home Run, says fans are becoming disenchanted. The magic of sport is seeing the limits of human potential. A machine breaking these kinds of records just isn't exciting or even surprising. But not everyone agrees. Christopher Lennox, a baseball pundit and ex-pitcher, thinks androids are making games more exciting. The machines are shaking things up and pushing players to do even better. The game can only survive by evolving. Connecting the dots. Blech. Android quarterback. American football has largely resisted the spread of Android players, with top-tier games still exclusively human affair, but that may be about to change. Following CyberLife's recent unveiling of technical demo QB1000, an Android quarterback capable of throwing from end zone to end zone and hitting a target 6 inches wide, this model is also programmed with over 1,500 plays from classics such as bootlegs and handoffs to more specialized maneuvers, all of which can be adapted in real time. QB1000 was revealed at a recent CyberLife exhibition in Detroit, where the Android manufacturer showed a variety of prototypes designed to show the potential of bleeding-edge technology. But while CyberLife's latest invention has some fans drooling, Roy Kenstone, founder of the anti-Android fan group, sees a sinister aspect. CyberLife knows exactly what they are doing with this demonstration. They hope to distort our sport the same way they have all the others. Despite these reservations, some consider this simply a matter of time. With basketball and baseball already contemplating Android players, an LED sporting QB might be just around the corner. North Pole, why Russia wants it. Russia's interest in the North Pole has intensified with the recent discovery of precious minerals trapped in the frozen ice, many of which are used in synthesizing therium. Android manufacture increasingly dominates both the US and Russian economies, but this isn't just about GDP. Surplus therium reserves would allow either nation to experiment in more advanced Android models, enhancing their military and industrial output tremendously. Add to the strategic importance of the region, which connects Russia with Europe through Norway and Denmark, Greenland, as well as Canada, and the prospect of a peaceful resolution to the dispute starts to seem unlikely, but a spokesperson for NATO is more optimistic. Both nations stand to benefit from a stable, productive Arctic region. A conflict would benefit nobody. President Warren, however, recently torpedoed the notion. It's simple. Russia has no business in the Arctic. If the Kremlin doesn't understand that, we will make him understand. Because that's what you want to hear when dealing with international relationships. We will make them understand our point of view. Sorry, ladies, but plastic can't be beat. The result of our survey is in. It's official. 68% of men prefer sex with an android to a real woman, and with 52% of men saying they've tried the experience at least once, that's a lot of android love to go around. There are a few reasons given for this preference, but we think we know the real reason. Androids don't want to talk about their feelings afterwards. The story was sponsored by Eden Cloud. Discretion is our middle name. Okay. It could be hacked. Dating website discovered to have less than 5% female members. Pollinating bees officially extinct. For decades, scientists and farmers foresaw the inevitable extinction of bee populations. Despite these warnings, the Global Institute for Endangered Species announced at their Washington AGM yesterday that wild bees are officially extinct. Living specimens exist only in captivity. Bee numbers have been ravaged in recent decades by colony collapse disorder, where worker bees disappear, leaving hives which cannot feed themselves. Biologists confirm that CCD was accelerated. Colony collapse disorder was accelerated by the overuse of pesticides in crops, parasites, and pollution. The consequences of this catastrophe will be felt across the cotton industry, fresh water supplies, and most disturbingly, agriculture. Environmentalist Kathy Linda has stressed the breadth of this news. 1 in 3 mouthfuls of food we eat relies on pollination of some kind. The resulting famine will lead to millions of deaths worldwide. CyberLife, in cooperation with GIES, have come forward with plans on creating robotic bees. Some are pursuing non-robotic approaches, such as Detroit Urban Farms, currently experimenting with modified strains of bees produced in captivity, but there is no guarantee that they will thrive. This Detroit painter dies. Carl Manfred, one of Detroit's brightest lights. Reports of famous artist Carl Manfred's death have been confirmed. The coroners described a fatal cardiac event induced by his stressful domestic situation. Manfred's son Leo has asked the media to respect his family's privacy at this difficult time. Carl Manfred rose to fame in the 2020s as a figurehead of neo-symbolism with powerful and dark works in the mold of Francis Bacon. Proliferate years followed until a dark period marked by alcohol and drugs, but the artist apparently returned to work in recent months. The governor of Detroit expressed her condolences to the family on behalf of the city, describing Manfred as one of Detroit's brightest lights. A collection of Manfred's paintings will be auctioned by his estate in the coming weeks. What's the next one? Ivanov says NYET!
Be advised, severe traffic effect.
Oh boy. More than 50 arrests throughout the country. Detroit's finest has dealt a massive blow to the city's growing red ice epidemic, with a number of high-profile dealers and suppliers now behind bars and narcotics seized with a street value of $500,000. Detective Hank Anderson, a young but hugely talented detective, is said to have been instrumental in the operation, which took months of planning. The DA described the work of Detective Anderson and his colleagues as model investigative police work. Becoming the youngest lieutenant on the Detroit police force, Lieutenant Hank Anderson was among the most decorative detectives in DPD's recent history, securing a number of high-profile arrests and serving as an integral member of the force. Captain Fowler said the promotion was long overdue, describing Anderson as among the most talented police I've ever worked with. The new lieutenant is expected to rise quickly through the ranks of the department and is already being tipped as a future commissioner. Nearly a ton of red ice discovered in the hold of a boat after a long investigation conducted by Lieutenant Anderson of the Detroit Police Force. The plaintiff reports that he left his android at home at usual, and when he went to work, when he returned, the android was nowhere to be found. No trace of a break-in in the apartment. The android may have left the home without being ordered to. Plaintiff claims to have been attacked by a Navy 500 number 234777821 model android working as a waiter in the Fast Coney Dogs restaurant chain situated at 842 Chamberlain Avenue. The plaintiff claims the android lunged at him unexpectedly and attempted to strangle the man before leaving the scene. The android remains at large. The plaintiff claims to have been attacked by her android, an AP700 480-913-802 model. The android also trashed several rooms in the house before taking flight. That's best. The plaintiff, the manager of the Eden Club, reported the unexplained disappearance of a sex android model WR400-641-790-831. The android disappeared after accompanying a customer to his home and never returned to the club. Void. Oh, this is Marcus. Famous painter Carl Manfred was found dead in his home following an altercation between his android and his son. The latter's witness statement attests to the android behaving violently. The android is thought to be a prototype, unknown model, and serial number was destroyed at the scene by attending officers. And there's Kara. The victim's body was found by a friend who came by to say hello. He immediately called the emergency service at 842, who recorded death by gunshot wound. The murder weapon may have belonged to the victim. His android, an AX400, was not found on the scene and is the main suspect. 0.4% of the world population holds 94% of the global wealth. CyberLife is set to open the first android zoo in Los Angeles, which will exhibit all exotic species to have become extinct in the last 30 years. Loot turtles, polar bears, mountain gorillas, African elephants, and several species of tiger will be among the most high-profile attractions. CyberLife CSR spokeswoman Daniel Carnegie said the zoo caters to people of all ages and has a special mission to educate and inspire the younger generation about the importance of protecting our fragile environment. Though some environmentalists have claimed the zoo will diminish popular concern for the extinction of real animals, it's difficult not to be enthusiastic about technology being used to recreate vanished species. The animals themselves have yet to be unveiled, but CyberLife promises they will be more real than the real thing. No doubt an ideal weekend trip for the family. Kingdom. Residents in the Detroit suburb of Camden were witness to a thrilling chase today after a police manhunt, including roadblocks and dozens of police interviews fleshed out of felony. As if you did it with a difference. The suspect is an android. The Rogue AX400 model is thought to be suffering from an extremely rare malfunction and took extreme measures to avoid police, even dashing across a busy highway to avoid pursuing officers. Eyewitness statements are inconclusive, and with no official report, it's impossible to say for sure what really happened, but local news correspondents are looking into the case at this very moment. No CyberLife spokesperson was available for comment, and the speculation looks set to continue. Oh, I'm still chilling. Destroyer-class submarine, the USS Iowa, has disappeared in polar waters. An inquiry is underway, but President Warren has made no secret of her suspicion that the Russians are behind it. Russian aggression just reached a new level. America must respond. The Kremlin has yet to release a statement beyond a blanket denial of any involvement, though Russian diplomat Nabokov pointed out that a U.S. destroyer-class submarine has no business being in the Arctic anyway. Security expert Ben Williams described the situation as a war waiting to start. Are American senators really corrupt? I don't know. The science hasn't come back on that one yet. What happened to the man of the century in 2028? Sorry, Elijah Kamsky was our man of the century. His creations have transformed our world. Androids didn't just revolutionize the economy, they changed the way we live, restrict our family life, and alter the balance of society forever, whether for good or bad. Shortly after Kamsky has disappeared, ousted as CEO of CyberLife and living in obscurity outside the media glare, the man of the century has left the very world that he recreated. Kamsky's story begins in 2018 when commercial property in Detroit was cheap and attracting many startups. The college graduate bet what little he had on developing an Android prototype and spent years to no avail until hitting on two breakthroughs: blue blood and biocomponents. After unveiling his first working model, which publicly passed face-to-face Turing tests and stunned the world, plans were laid for mass production, and CyberLife rapidly became the most valuable stock in the world. Yet at the peak of CyberLife's power, when the company was approaching a $500 billion valuation, rumors emerged that Kamsky disagreed with his shareholders over strategy. He later departed under mysterious circumstances. Today, sources claim Kamsky is living in a luxurious villa by the waters somewhere on the outskirts of his beloved Detroit, refusing all visitors and spending his time exclusively with androids. And the most interesting question remains unanswered: what's in the mind of the mysterious Mr. Kamsky? Markets predict war. Yeah, we don't want to hear about market troubles. Next holiday just. After decades of Android designs that were primitive, robotic, and expensive, CyberLife revolutionized the industry through an innovation of their CEO and visionary Elijah Kamsky. Ariane 310, the chemical name of blue blood, which is a trademark, is a compound vital to the functioning of all CyberLife androids, circulating energy and electrical information throughout the machine's body. This fluid powers biocomponents, synthetic organs that roughly reflect the organ system of humans. Some of these organs serve important functions: maintain temperature, circulating blue blood, and so on, where others are used to make the android seem more human. Lungs to simulate breathing. As with humans, the loss of blue blood will impair an android's functions, ultimately resulting in shutdown. Blue blood is essential for CyberLife android's key selling point: how human they seem. That this wonder chemical built this power supply and a way of regulating the android's internal systems was developed by one man who wasn't even a trained chemist, only furthers the myth of Elijah Kamsky. Everyone's asking. Following the pirate broadcast in Detroit, everybody wants to know, who is this android? A federal investigation is underway to track the machine down and neutralize it, but law enforcement is being very tight-lipped about the details. Eyewitnesses claim the android broke into the Stratford Tower, Detroit's local TV news center, with a group of accomplices. The machines were armed and organized, clearly following orders from the mysterious ringleader. Which brings us to the real mystery of the situation. Where did this android come from? How did it become capable of violence? And what kind of malfunction could explain this behavior? Until the FBI develops its investigation, we can't be sure, but one thing is certain: until this dangerous machine is destroyed, the speculation will continue. Space tourism on the rise. With the advent of reusable space shuttles, space tourism is becoming a reality for those able to afford it. Luxury travel brand Clear Skies is offering the first commercially available flight into space. The experience includes a 3-hour orbit of the moon, affording spectacular views of Earth through a specially designed observation deck. As competition increases in this growing market, consumers can expect such trips to become more and more affordable, but consumer rights activists are already decrying such boutique experiences as a sign of the widening social equality gap. The spokesman for Aid on Poverty said, "While the top 1% are enjoying Earth from space, the rest of us are down here suffering from pollution, famine, and poverty." Clear Skies was not available for comment, but the new slogan for their spacefaring holidays looks increasingly apt: "Get away from it all." Global population reaches 10 billion. A number of Detroit neighborhoods were brutally vandalized last night, with CyberLife stores broken into and the entire stock of androids stolen. But this wasn't everyday criminality. The perpetrators are thought to be androids. Though the police have yet to issue an official statement, leaked CCTV footage from the surrounding area shows a number of androids emerging from manhole covers and smashing store windows. The worst incident was in Capitol Park, where police attempted the scene and were confronted by androids behaving violently. Officers had no choice but to open fire on the malfunctioning machines, which are thought to be suffering from some kind of behavioral bug. An eyewitness who has to remain anonymous said, I was personally attacked by the ringleader. It threatened me with a knife. I was so terrified. Of course, this allegation remains unconfirmed, but we have no reason to disbelieve a human witness as to the behavior of a deranged machine. Some are already connecting this issue to the recent attack on Detroit's Stratford Tower, again executed by androids. This may be the beginning of a disturbing and perplexing pattern. Okay. Androids have taken to the streets of Detroit in apocalyptic scenes. Detroit is already in the grip of a national product recall, with androids seized from every home and business to be destroyed by the authorities as a precaution. But now a group of androids thought to be connected to the recent android terror activity in the city have gathered for a terrifying show of force. Police and military authorities are in attendance to protect civilians and deal with the threat, but the androids have barricaded themselves in a fortified position and seem to be angling for an armed confrontation. President Warren is said to be aware of the situation. Detroit Police's Captain Fowler, a senior officer in the android investigation, said the safety of Detroit's people is our first priority. We hope to bring this matter to a swift conclusion and refocus on collecting androids as soon as possible. This story is still developing. We'll bring you updates live.
What's my dog's name?
Sumo.
Sumo. His name is Sumo. I knew that too.
Shut up! It's not your turn! Shut the fuck up! You don't have the talking stick!